Chapter 36 The Gosling Grows. Brightbill soon forgot about the incident with Rockmouth, and he spent his mornings cruising around in the pub with the other Goslings. He was becoming a great little swimmer. He was also becoming a great little speaker. Hello, my name is Brightbill, he said to anyone who would listen. The Gosling was small for his age, and he always would be, but he was growing bigger and stronger by the day. His increased size was matched by his increased appetite. He gobbled down grass and berries and nuts and leaves. Sometimes he snacked on little insects. If it if it was edible, Brightbill would eat it. If it was edible, Brightbill would eat it. And even if it wasn't edible, he might eat it anyway. Roz felt something like fright the time she was Brightbill swallowing pebbles on the beach. She was holding him upside down, hoping the pebble would fall out of his mouth. Allowing step to put the Gosling down, said the goose with a laugh. It's perfectly natural for Brightbill to eat a few pebbles. They help him digest his food, but not too many, okay, little one? Like most youngsters, Brightbill was incredibly curious. He explored the garden and pond and the forage floor, and he was a, a going to explore neighborhood. He wandered down some hole in the ground and say to whoever was there, "Hello, my name is Brightbill." Then a long robot arm would reach in and pull the Gosling back outside. "Sorry to bother you," Ross would say in her friendliest voice. The mother and the son slipped into a good nighttime routine while the Gosling slept. The robot might send the fire if it was cool out. It gently fanned him if it was warm. If he woke up hungry and thirsty, Roz brought him food or water. And whenever he had nightmares, she was always there to rock him back to sleep. Chapter 37 The Squirrel. The small squirrel was scurrying through the gardens. Brightbill had never seen her before. He peered out from the nest and watched her bounce across the lawn. After a minute of spying, the Gosling shook his tail feathers and waddled outside. "Hello, my name is Brightbill." The squirrel froze. Then she slowly turned around and then she started to talk. "Hi, Brightbill." Hi, Brightbill. My name is Chit Chat, and I am 12.5 weeks old squirrel, and I am new around here, and your home is really big and round, and I don't understand why smoke sometimes comes out of it. Reader, I'm not quite sure how Chit-Chat got enough air into her lungs to go on like that, and I'm not quite sure how Brightbill had the patience to listen. But he stood there and politely nodded as Chit-Chat rambled on and on and on. "And sometimes I see you waddling behind your funny-looking mother, and you seem so nice that I thought I'll come down and introduce myself. But now I'm nervous and I'm talking too much, and my name is Chit-Chat. I think I said that already." There was a pleasant silence. Brightbill stood on one foot for a moment. Then the Gosling took a deep breath and said, "It's very nice to meet you, Chit-Chat. I don't think you could talk much as I think you talk just enough, and I like you, so let's be friends." A big smile appeared on the squirrel's tiny face. For once, Chit-Chat was speechless. Chapter 38 The New Friendship. Chit-Chat wasn't speechless for long. She'd already been alive for a whole 12.5 weeks, and she wanted to tell Brightbill about every exciting thing and every boring thing that ever happened to her. And so, as the new friends played and explored and ate together, the squirrel shared her story. "I was born on the other side of the hill, and then last week I decided I was ready to build my first which it was you call a squirrel nest. And now I live in that tree, which the weird bump in its trunk. She said it while the two of them kicked pebbles into the pond. Once time a weasel chased me through the treetops until he missed a branch and fell all the way down and crashed into a bush and walked away all wobbly, and he never bothered me again. She said while the two of them crawled through a hollow log. Ew, gross! I saw you eat that ant one time. I ate an ant by accident, and I didn't like it at all. I mostly eat acorns and bark and trees and buds and sometimes the yummy berries that grow in your garden. The yummy berries that grow in your garden. She said while the two of them took a snack break. But Chit Chat was a good listener as she was a talker. And whenever it was Brightwell's turn to speak, she kept keep quiet and hang on his every word. Do you know who enjoyed their conversation most of all? Our robot Ross, protective brother who never far away. And she felt something like amusement as the silly conversation she overheard. And she felt something like happiness that her son had made such a good friend. Chapter 39. The First Flight. Bravo had spent his entire life by the pond, and he was becoming very curious about what lay beyond his neighborhood. So one day his mother said to him, let us go for a walk, and I will show you more water than you can possibly imagine. Roz placed the Gosling on her flat shoulder, and the two of them set off across the island. They marched out of the forest, crossed the great meadow, and climbed uphill until they were at the top of the island. Western ridge. Before them there was a grassy slope that descended all the way to the dark, choppy waves and surrounded the island. That's a lot of water, said the wide-eyed Gosling. I'm a good swimmer, but I am not good enough to swim across that pond. It's not a pond, said the robot. That is an ocean. That is an ocean. I doubt any bird could swim across an ocean. Waves rolled in from the horizon, seagulls circled above the shore, a steady breeze blew up the slope. Bright-blue yellow fluff had recently changed over it a coat of silky brown feathers, and he spread his feathery wings into the breeze. And then, Mama, look! For the bravest of moments, the wind lifted Brightbill off the ground, but he had quickly tipped backwards and thumped into the soft grass. I was flying, he squeaked. That was not flying, said Roz, looking back at her son upside down. Wait, looking back at upside down son, her upside down son. Well, I was almost fine. I'm gonna try again. I have observed many birds in flight, said Roz. Sometimes they flap their wings quickly, and other times they fly without flapping at all. They spread their wings and soar on the wind. So I was soaring, said Brightbill. Almost there. Almost there. Look at that soaring eagle. It seems like she is not doing anything. But if you look closer, you will notice that she is making a small adjustment with her wings and tail. I think you should try adjusting your wings in the wind like her. Brightbill hopped onto a rock and opened his wings wide. The wind is pushing me backwards. Change the angle of your wings, said his mother. Let us see what happens when they slice through the air. Brightbill slowly angled his wings downward. The more he turned them, the less the wind pushed him backward. And just as his wings leveled off, Mama, look! He squeaked as his feet left the ground. I'm soaring! I'm soaring! He hovered there for a second, rising a little higher than before, and then he sailed backwards into the soft grass field. The gosling kept hopping onto the rocks and kept riding the wind and kept tumbling into the grass until he started to find his wings. With each attempt he floated a little higher and a little longer, and finally Bravo really did soar. He lifted high into the air and hung there. Floating, he turned his wings down and felt himself drop his wiggle his tail feathers and felt himself veering back and forth. I mean natural, he squeaked. You are doing very well, said Ross, but you need to keep practicing. And so they spent the afternoon practicing up on the ridge. Once Bradley was comfortable soaring, he tried flapping his wings. He flapped high into air. He flapped in straight lines. He flapped around and around in circles. A big smile appeared on the Gosling face. Clearly, Bradley was designed to fly. Designed to fly. I'm flying, Mama! I'm really flying! You are flying, said the robot. Very good. Rabbit was now a real flyer, but all the flying had worn him out. He lowered himself towards the ground and tumbled into the grass. One last time, his landing still needed some work. Ross placed Rabbit on her shoulder and headed back to the nest. I can't believe I can fly now, Mama, said Rabbit in his sleepy voice. I just wish you could fly with me. And then the ghostly words were replaced by his quiet, steady breathing. Chapter 40. The Ship. Rival was a flying fanatic, and his favorite place to fly was up on the grassy ridge. The robot had the gosling like to spend afternoons up there, working on the finer points of flying. And it was on one such afternoon that they noticed something mysterious far out from sea. Bright Bill stared down to his mother, flopped onto the grass, and pointed to the horizon. Mama, what is that thing? Rosalind Peterbrain found the word. That is a ship. What is a ship? A ship is a large vessel used for ocean transport. Rival face scrunched up with confusion. Used by who? I do not know. It was the first ship either of them had ever laid eyes on. From the distance it looked as though it was moving slowly, but it was actually racing through the waves from the distance. It looked as